Welcome to the Totally Online Gaming Group YouTube channel. I'm Jason, and I want to help you Dungeon Masters out there who want to learn how to actually run games in Talespire. But first, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and comment "subscribed" in the comments below, and I'll do my best to respond to each and every one of you. Alright, so this is a short series that I've been doing. This is part 4 now, if I'm remembering correctly. And in this series, I'm wanting to cover things that deal with, as a dungeon master, running games in Talespire. What can you do to be more efficient, make things more dramatic, more impactful for the players, set those scenes up just perfect and all that? Well, that's what we're going to try to do. Now, that's not saying that I'm perfect. I make mistakes, and in fact, that's how I learned a lot of the things that, how to use some of these tools. Well, in this part, what we're going to be looking at is one of the plugins and how you can use that to help you tracking info and keeping, roles and things like that for all of your monsters or NPCs that you're dealing with that are opposing your players, so that you can really, kind of make things happen quickly, efficiently, and cool. So I'm not going to teach you exactly how to use the plugin. This series kind of assumes that you know how the tools and the plugins work. So I'll only really touch a little bit on how to install it and use that. But the plugins I'm using are from the R2 Modman site. So I'll have that in the links in the description below, as well as I will link a couple videos to some other great YouTubers who work in Talespire and have videos on how to load up R2 Modman, how to load up the plugins and that kind of stuff. But in here, this one, and any of you who are fans of our Wednesday night stream may recognize this map from this last Wednesday night's episode. But right here, I'm going to be using a character sheet plugin. Okay, so the way this works, like I said, I'm not going to go into tons of details, but the way this works is when you load it up and everything, you have to put in some information in a notes file that you can read with like Notepad and stuff like that, to lay out the stats for a mini. And then that mini, you have to have the same name. So I've got this mini over here, and if I hold down tab, I can see his name, Donner, right there. Well, with this plugin going and running everything from R2 Modman, I can select on my different minis, and I'm going to select on Donner here, and then just hit Control-O to open up the character sheet. Okay, so here we've got Donner. Now, you can see Donner's character sheet, and all this information has been filled out in the Notepad file. And according to the way it's set up. And it's all based on how the plugin works. So again, just follow the link to instructions on how to use the plugin. But once I've got this, in that note sheet, I can input the character stats, so that I end up with this kind of nice little generic note sheet. Generic character sheet, I should say. Now, the nice thing about this is once I've got the character sheet open for that character, and I'm going through combat with my players, I can still use, my standard initiative tracker. So I can go up to the top and I can say, hey, let's go into turn-based mode. Okay, and I can start applying turn order. Okay, so let's say he's first. I'll throw in these guys here. Apply my turn order to this. Here they are. And now, with his character sheet, I can, just like I do kind of in D&D Beyond or other things, I can click on things to get them to roll on the screen. And actually kind of neat the way it rolls. You'll see here in a second. Let's say Donner, being a wizard, is going to go ahead and cast a spell that requires a spell attack roll. So I just go and I click on spell attack here, and it tells me spell attack. It gives me the number and then the pluses that I get from my proficiency modifier and my stat modifier and everything to get my total. So right there, boom, that was a roll. Not the greatest roll. He probably didn't hit. Well, let's try again and see. Okay, so now, here we go. We can see he's got a 13 with a +4, +2 for a 19. pretty good chance of that hitting. And then if you want, using your fun little Talespire tips and tricks, you can say, all right, let's say he's hitting this person right here, Varane. I can right click and say, yep, go ahead and attack. And, oh, let's do it as a magic missile because it's a spell attack. Boom. All right. So that kind of gives you the little bit of tracking with that character sheet as far as being able to roll with modifiers and everything for your different stats. And you can modify this plugin in the notes, in that little notes file. You can add in, you know, as long as you follow their format, kind of all sorts of stuff. You'll see on this sheet, I've just got quarterstaff attack, the damage from the quarterstaff, and then spell attack. Well, I could add in, you know, as much as I wanted. Maybe I wanted to add in for each type of spell that had a spell attack. Maybe I wanted to just cause it to pull up some info instead of necessarily rolling dice. Like the little bubble comes up and he says, casts this at the players. They must make a, you know, DC 15 con or whatever it is. You know, so I can do that. And now all my players will see that as well. So it's kind of shared between. So there's a neat little plugin. Pretty cool. And then, you know, I can roll damage for each spells. I could add that in there. I'll just use the quarterstaff damage here. Let's say, boom. Did 6 damage with his spell to who he attacked. And now, like in my previous video where I show you, what can I do with the hit points and stuff like that? Well, that took 6 damage, so let's drop it by 6. So I can use those stat windows, those little stat circles, to track in Talespire the damage and things. And then his turn's done, move on to the next person. So once you've kind of got this set up, and this is one of those things you want to set up ahead of time, well, it's going to make kind of tracking combat, you know, I think pretty fun and pretty easy, especially for having all your bad guy stats and being able to get them rolled right on screen as long as you got their little stat sheets open. And I can have more than one of these open at a time. So I could go to other characters that I've put stat sheets together for using the plugin, open those up, and when it comes to fight time, I've got all of my little character sheets open and I'm ready to go. So when it comes around to Donner's turn, or Setta's turn, or Kale's turn, or whoever, I can then just look at their sheet, go and click on the attack or skill check, which we can do those as well. Here's a skill check. Boom, Arcana check. I did 2 actually there, double clicked it. But there, I can roll, you know, skill checks, saving throws, whatever I need right there, just like that. Now, here's the one pitfall. Everybody can see that. Everybody, all the players can see that. So if I want to do rolls in secret, that's not going to do what I need it to do. But you still have your dice in Talespire. And I can still say, you know what? I've got the character sheet right here. I know that there's, you know, Donner's save for wisdom save is a +6. So I can just come over to my D20, roll it, and use that secret roll right here, that hidden roll. Only I see that number. And then I just add my modifier and just do it that way. So I still have to do secret rolls using, you know, this kind of setup here. And let's get rid of that. I don't need it right now. Using what's in Talespire. But if there are rolls that I don't mind out in the open or things like that, use the sheets. Once you get it set up, it's really kind of a nice tool to have everything out there and available for you. Okay. We will talk about some other plugins and some other videos, but for now, I hope this video was useful and helped you to learn a little bit about the character sheet plugin and how you kind of, you know, can set that up for your characters. Again, not going into how to set up each one of these things. It's just use of those character sheets and that plugin in your game so that you can pull that up for your characters, have everything listed out, and be ready to go. All right, that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and down in the comments, write subscribe so that I know you subscribed, and I will do my best to get back to each and every one of you in those comments. All right, later, everybody.